These are cars, factory fresh. This year we're making nearly 9 million of them, a record. This year we're making fewer than 4 million babies, not a record. You might conclude that we love cars more than twice as much as babies. Of course, you can make a case against cars. They can't love you back. They take up too much space. They pollute the air. They mess up cities. They aren't safe. But that is another broadcast. What concerns us now, at the time of year when it's all American to be talking about, looking at, dreaming of, or buying a new 1966 model, what concerns us now is this thing we have about cars.
The Great Love Affair. With CBS News correspondent Harry Reason.
There are 72 million cars in the United States. If you're 65 years old, there are more cars alive today than there were people when you were born.
You know what? Santa Monica Freeway, off of Florida to Patrick San Pedro, again there's some slow traffic coming outbound down on the freeway. We'll continue on westbound, check the rest of Santa Monica, off of the Harbor Freeway.
Reporters go up in helicopters to sort it all out. They look over the major arteries to see if any cars are bleeding through. If you stacked all the cars on end, bumper to bumper, they'd reach to the moon and a quarter of the way back.
What a mess we got there, all.
It's a mess, all right, but it's our mess, and we're willing to live with it. When it is, we're making all these four-wheeled toys faster than we can think up good names for them. We have to use them for something. So nobody walks to work or to the corner for a loaf of bread anymore. The housewife does her walking in the parking lots. She's out from in front of the stove and in behind the wheel. If we don't have one of our own handy and feel the urge, we walk into an office and rent one. We convert them into portable living rooms, into rolling executive offices. We take them on vacation, along with boats, luggage, and living quarters. We're always going someplace, and for a while there, it looked as though we might run out of places to go. American ingenuity was up to the problem, though. It started inventing places to get to in a car. Originally, the phrase drive-in meant only one thing: a restaurant that brought food to your car window. Now, drive-in can mean anything. You can put money in the bank without ever taking your foot off the brake. While you still have enough money in there to cover it, you can drive up and mail off a check for a bill you owe. On the car, probably. There are no drive-in bars. You have to buy the whole bottle. There are 4,000 drive-in theaters around the country. The main feature starts at a different time in every car. If you've driven everywhere all week, there's no sense unfastening your safety belt on Sunday.
Welcome to Southern California's original walk-in drive-in church. By the time this service comes to a close, more than 10,000 people will have streamed in and out of this church to worship in the beautiful glass sanctuary and in the privacy of the family car. We had a great, big, wonderful dream of building a walk-in drive-in church like this, where people could sit inside a sanctuary or in the privacy of their car, hearing the spoken word and the great organ and the choir through hundreds of high-fidelity speakers, while fountains leaped in the sun-drenched sunlight, and while we listened to birds singing in the trees and flowers blooming. I'm delighted to announce today that our dream of a chain of walk-in drive-in churches from San Francisco to San Diego is developing beautifully. So, welcome to Southern California's chain of walk-in drive-in churches on this beautiful, beautiful morning.
Southern California is more completely devoted to the automobile than any other region. If cars were water, Southern California would be declared a national disaster area. Attending church in a car does not seem unusual to those who come here regularly. It's a non-denominational church. You can come in a Plymouth, a Rambler, a Cadillac, anything. One half the total land area of downtown Los Angeles is devoted to cars, roads, parking lots, junkyards, drive-ins. By 1984, there will be twice as many cars as there are now. Logically, that would mean the end of Los Angeles. Will anyone care? Will anyone even slow down to look? What we have here is more questions than answers. All anyone knows is we've got this thing, this involvement with the automobile. It's all mixed up with status, the national economy, sex, and transportation. That's some mix-up, and we start getting into it early. The kids have pretty much given up toy soldiers. In the average sand pile, it's toy cars over dolls, 2 to 1. The same ratio as adults are producing automobiles over babies. When the kids get out of the sandbox, they start taking the wheels off things and putting together toy cars with a lot of simulated stature. Of course, once you've got anything that looks like a car, you want to see how fast it will go. This is a soap box derby. Detergent box derby, actually. Slot car racing parlors are springing up in many parts of the country. It's the newest car game. We may have to run our own cars on tracks like these sometime in the future. You'd hook onto a hotline plugged into, say, Denver. Head-on collisions are still fun at the amusement park. Kids have several $1 billion pocket money to spend every year, so grown-ups invented something called the Teenage Fair. Customized cars are big attractions at those. A customized car isn't so much for driving as for looking at. The all-American boy outgrows pants, pimples, and heating onions, but he never gets over the automobile. If he's mechanically inclined, he takes them apart and puts them together. If he isn't, he lets it go at just taking them apart. In school, he studies reading, writing, new math, and the internal combustion engine. The kids aren't planning careers as mechanics. They're going to be doctors and insurance salesmen like everyone else. Anytime after about midnight, the day he comes of age, the average teenager is out there lined up ready for his driver's test.
At the next corner, turn left.
If you're a boy, the day you go for your license is not like being promoted to the 4th grade. It's not like shaving or kissing a girl for the first time. The day you go for your license is the biggest thing that's happened since you were born.
Stop alongside of the car on the right, back in and park behind it.
You've been moving the car 12 feet back and forth in your own driveway since you were 10, and practicing with a learner's permit for 6 months. Now this license examiner is sitting there and you can't even find reverse. You really want your license pretty bad, and this fellow sitting next to you hates all kids, particularly boy kids. Always flunks them the first time. You have to remember to do a lot of dumb things you don't really do when you're driving. You can't rest your elbow on the window or anything.
Drive on. Proceed straight ahead.
Once he gets his license, he's got a driving life expectancy of 45 years and 500,000 miles ahead of him. The average driver will buy 15 cars and have 13 accidents. The National Safety Council also says there's a 1 in 40 chance he'll be killed in an accident.
Turn right at the next corner.
Life is one long wait for things that don't come in the mail. One of the things that keeps not coming is that first driver's license. When it does, he's ready. Maybe he'll stop by Eddie's. Maybe he'll drop over to his girl's house. Maybe he'll go get a job to tell the bank about so he can get a loan to buy his own car to get to the job in. When he leaves, Mother will go in the house and have a good cry. Up till now, she's had the car all to herself. He isn't just a kid anymore. Beginning today, he's a potential car buyer. These men are preparing a virgin Chevrolet Impala for sacrifice on the altar of the great god advertising. The car will be towed out, chained to a rock in the sea, and shot by a camera. A commercial like this one they're making runs for 1 minute on television and costs perhaps $30,000. When you buy a car for $3,000, about $6,250 of that is to pay for what it cost the company to interest you in the car in the first place. You may say to yourself, I'm never going to park my car on a wet rock 200 yards out in the ocean. Advertising is nonsense. Well, we're all in on that. Advertising may be nonsense, but it's beautifully done, and it's the way we like to be advertised at. Almost everyone will recognize the result of all this labor, which introduced the 65 Chevrolet to a waiting world. Commercials all promise a lot besides transportation. What they do is, they find out what our dreams are and play them back to us. Maybe we should be dreaming about improved safety equipment, but most of us aren't. What we are dreaming about is love, beauty, freedom, fun, luxury, speed, class, and sex appeal. You name it, their cars will give it to you. One implication is that if you consume the right car, it will change your whole personality.
Wilbur hasn't been herself lately. She's changed. Her mind seems to be a million miles away.
Willow Lane hasn't seen Winnie since the 65 Deluxe Mustang.
When does a man decide it is time to own an automobile that reflects what he has accomplished? When does that moment come? Certainly, an automobile of this stature is not a casual investment. You own it because you've earned it.
Listen, fella, if you haven't quite earned it, you can always borrow it. With the right car, you may find romance anywhere.
Get a Fury, partner. A real mover. Underneath, red line tires, heavy-duty springs, shocks, stabilizers. Give the 442 terrific road sense.
The car commercial can be as masculine as a t-shirt, or as feminine as a negligee.
You are about to meet a true international beauty with a shape that blends elegance and excitement.
This is beauty by association. There it is, the latest model, although that other model looked too good to trade in.
Thunderbird, 1965.
I don't know who this fellow is. Maybe he's coach of the swimming team. Well, maybe not.
When he looked over a Mustang hardtop at his Ford dealers, he discovered some pretty unexpected features inside.
That's optional equipment, of course. One thing you notice about car commercials, the car is always in a field or by a lake or on an open road with no other car for miles around. It's never caught in a traffic jam. Actually, you notice two things about car commercials on television. Sometimes they're the best thing on the show. They ought to be. They often spend months choosing exactly the right words. But if you think commercials aren't real, here's reality. What we did, we planted a $14,000 Ferrari on a New York street and took pictures of people looking at it. There's not even a girl in a bathing suit in there, just car. If you own one of these, you matter. People like Jimmy Stewart, Governor Rockefeller, ex-King Leopold of Belgium, J. Paul Getty. Francois Sagan drives hers very